Welcome to Ridgewood Talks. Through this podcast, we will be introducing you to some of the leaders and legends in our village. We'll keep you updated about fascinating local events. We'll dig into the town's hot topics and so much more. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Jeanne Johnson, the founder of Ridgewood Talks and Ridgewood Walks. The goal of these initiatives is to create a kinder, more connected, and more vibrant community. I'm thrilled to be hosting this podcast with my good friend and all-around wonderful guy, Jordan Kaufman. We look forward to meeting with you weekly and hearing your thoughts on who and what you'd like to learn about in our beautiful hometown. For now, be kind, do good, and enjoy this episode. Here we go.
Greetings. Thank you for joining Ridgewood Talks. I'm Rosie McCooe, and I have the great honor of sitting in today as your host for the great Jeanne Johnson, founder of Ridgewood Walks and Ridgewood Talks. Thank you, Jeanne, for this wonderful opportunity. As many of Jeanne's listeners know, Ridgewood has many great traditions, and today I get the chance to talk about two of them that are both near and dear to my heart. The first topic of today's show is the RHS Jamboree. I've had the privilege of being involved with Jamboree for the past 20 years, so happy anniversary to me. My guests today are three of Jamboree greats, Tom Devita, Dana Feeney, and Ann Wheaton. Between us, we have 100 years of Jamboree under our belts. That's a lot of Jamboree. The second part of the show, I meet with two of the dads who are involved in Dads Night. Our chairman, Steve Pye, and writer and stage crew extraordinaire, Ahmad Oloumi. My husband, Sean McCooe, participated in Dads Night for 18 consecutive years back in the good old days. I really look forward to talking about this great event. Are you curious to know which came first? Be sure to stay tuned and listen to our episode. But first, Jamboree. Thank you so much, Tom and Ann and Dana, for being with us today. And thank you to our friends here at the Ignite studio for hosting us in this state-of-the-art studio. It's pretty impressive, right?
Pretty neat.
Ridgewood's first
Beautiful
podcasting studio. It's amazing. And since we're all kind of showbiz people, we just love being here and being under the spotlight and talking about this wonderful tradition that is called Jamboree. So, Ann, I would like to start with you. I know you've been doing some research, and maybe you could cue our listeners a little bit, cue them into exactly what is Jamboree, and when did it start, and can you give us some of the back history?
Thanks, Rosie. Jamboree is a 501(c) nonprofit organization dedicated to raising money to send kids to college. We put on a parent-run song and dance variety show once a year to raise these funds. And in the past few years, we've been raising well over $200,000.
That's a lot of scholarship money. That's amazing. Over $200,000 for, and it's the seniors from Ridgewood High School specifically, correct?
That's right.
Yes. Okay,
That's right.
Great.
The show, this is the 79th year of Jamboree, but it's not the 79th show. It's the 78th. The Jamboree was started in 1947, and it was a organization that started with bridge, refreshments, and a little dancing. And even though there wasn't a show, it was called the Gay 90s, and they managed to raise $400, which was a lot of money back then.
That's amazing.
So they started the following year, and they began by adding shows. In the first about 10 years, there would be a director for each song. Mm-hmm. And I think in that period of time, in the first maybe 12 years of Jamboree, they raised $26,000 and gave out scholarships to 141 students. So they were really off and running at that point. And
all right, and Tom and Dana, I'm sure you would love to add to that. I know the genesis, it started, where did they start performing in? Do you recall that?
Well, it was, I believe, it was in the high school, in the auditorium.
What was the?
It was the gym, excuse me. It was the gym.
Yes, yes.
And then they moved maybe to the cafeteria, and then they moved to the chapel,
The Ridgewood High School Chapel,
which
right?
became the Little Theater. So I was surprised to hear that.
And now we perform at Ben Franklin Middle School, and we sell out the show most nights, right? The capacity is something like 745 seats, and most nights we sell out our show. So attendance-wise, we've certainly come a long way, and fundraising has certainly come a long way as well. And I know we've been digging up a lot of the old programs and playbills and things like that. And at one point, I believe there were 300 members of the cast members.
Cast and crew.
Cast
Total,
and crew.
all in 300 people.
Yeah, and so my understanding is that each person was only in one or two numbers because there were so many talented people to
That's right.
to accommodate and put up on stage, and each person was maybe only in one number, and then they moved on into the next number. But yeah, it's such a marvelous tradition, and I think we all feel so deeply and so strongly about it, and so fortunate to get to be part of this great Ridgewood tradition. I had someone said to me many years ago, someone who doesn't live in Ridgewood, obviously said, "Boy, you guys take your traditions very seriously." And I said, "Yes, we certainly do," and I know we all particularly feel a responsibility to carry on this particular tradition, and we stand on the shoulders of great people who have gone before us. And I just love, looking at the old pictures. We dug up some archives and some photos, and it's been so, it's been such an interesting kind of thing to archive and look at. So thank you for doing the research on that. And Tom, I know the fundraising has certainly come a long way as well. The humble beginnings of $400 that first year, which in 1947, was it? 47
right.
was a lot of money, and now over $200,000. That's pretty staggering as well. So maybe you can tell us.
Well, if you think about it, tuition always has been a stretch for a lot of parents, even back then. It was always a leap. Actually, there's stories I had years ago where, the GI Bill and other things helped pay for tuition. So it's always been a challenge. And as tuition has gone up, the needs in the town are great. So we've, tried to push pretty hard to raise funds from lots of places. It's all done by the cast and the crew. They go out and raise money from local merchants and produce a journal, which is an advertising journal. But more recently, there's been other innovations of just donate now. Just make a donation, help raise money for the scholarships and put on the show, as well as several raffles now, which raise a significant amount of money, where people can get a little return on it and buy a raffle ticket. And you'll see people selling raffle tickets all around town in the next couple weeks, and maybe you should buy one. It's only $10, or you can make a donate now.
Right, and I know, and one of the fun things that was added, I don't know how many years ago this was, but we do our ads, which have become part of the show and become part of the script, and we call them our Super Bowl ads, right? And they give an opportunity for the writers to be very creative and kind of tie in the show while raising a significant amount of money for that particular scene. So I don't know who thought of that, but it's very clever. I don't know if you were part of that or...
No, just a lot of clever people come up with, if you put a bunch of smart people together, they'll come up with some clever ideas that will excite some people to help support the cause.
So
and
it's
the cause is good.
Yeah, scene sponsor opportunity. That's really kind of blown up over the last several years. I know Dana is past director of Jamboree. You've been... It's a great problem to have, right?
Yep.
People are giving us a lot of money to get their brand or their store or whatever it is. And like you mentioned, Tom, I know our merchants have been incredibly generous, our local merchants, and of course, people's jobs. They've expanded the fundraising pool by going outside of town as well. And that's probably part of the reason we're raising so much money.
And I think, we're constantly reminded at the show is to be supportive of our sponsors. And I think we do that all the time. And so many times you'll go into a store and just say, thanks for supporting Jamboree because I saw your name or your ad or your skit.
Yeah, and we put together the wonderful ad journal, which we use as our yellow pages, right? Oh, I need a plumber. I need someone to fix my jewelry. I need something. You go into that ad journal. Yeah, I need...
Tree, helps
I need
landscaping,
whatever it might be. So, yeah, it does become a good source for people, and we do try to support our sponsors and, particularly the restaurants and the people where all these organizations are hitting up all the local folks, so quite a bit. So that's a lot. But I feel like they're particularly generous to Jamboree. I know that.
Sure. I think when you're on the cast, if you just ask friends and just people at work, you're saying, I'm raising money for scholarships. I think the cause is pretty much known around the world. It's expensive, and so people will be supportive. And the cast is out there putting their time and energy to put on a pretty amazing show. And so in that effort, they'll send money.
Yeah, yeah. And in a short time frame, right? We do this
6 weeks.
Basically in 6 weeks, we raise over 5 weeks, right? It's a quick turn. Yeah, 5 weeks. It's a quick turnaround to fundraise, put on a fully costume show with all the technical aspects, all the bells and whistles. It's pretty remarkable. I don't know of any other town that does it to the extent that Ridgewood does it. I challenge you listeners out there to bring us forth someone else who does it.
I'd love to hear it because I know several administrators in higher education who said they've never seen it anywhere.
Yeah, it's so I know we're all very proud Jamboree people and proud to be having part of this great tradition. And speaking of creatives, Dana is a current cast member of Viva Las Vegas, baby. What stays in Ridgewood? I don't know, whatever that expression is. So, great theme this year. It's going to be a lot of fun, right? A lot of sparks, a lot of imagination, and it's a great jumping off point. But Dana, you're a former director of Jamboree. You've been a script writer. You're a singer. You're a dancer. You've worn many hats in the show.
As a producer with Tom.
A producer. Yeah, we got to get back to that because in the spirit of the show must go on.
Yeah.
During COVID, what happened? I mean, come on.
Yep. We put on a show.
We had a show. We
made not take the mulligan.
Right?
No.
We did.
No easy way out.
We talked about it. We said, I guess we could take the year off after 70. How many years?
74.
74. It was the 75th show.
And we were on the phone quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was directing
Zoom
that
calls.
year, and
A lot of distancing.
Zoom calls.
Yeah. And we said, no, we're going to do Jamboree the movie.
Yeah.
We did.
And what was the theme that year, Dana?
Mission Impossible. But the M fell off, and it was more Mission Possible. The 75th show. So, yeah.
Happened. And how much money did you raise that year? That was a record-breaking year.
Was that 213?
Somewhere over $200,000.
Yeah, it was
amazing.
incredible.
First time over 200.
It was incredible. Yeah. And I think we all had like paper plates where we were announcing the number to the cast, just like very rudimentary, like Stone Age.
Yeah. We had a live reveal of the amount because everyone was distant at Park West, one of our longtime sponsors, and we revealed the number there.
Yes.
And that's when you live in a great community, that they've supported us financially. And I think one of the best memories any of us will ever have is dancing in the street.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we
were literally dancing in the street.
We were dancing in the street. It was Halloween morning. I think we got there like maybe close to 7 a.m.
The sun was coming up.
There was ice.
There was
freezing
cold. It was freezing cold.
There was ice on the ground. We were worried about people slipping. We were taking temperatures, and the thermometers were freezing. It just seemed like we're like, oh, okay, everything's against us. We just have to keep moving along. We had incredible people filming. We had the drones above, like getting us from overhead. Yeah. It was incredible. I mean, I remember just looking up at the apartments over the stores, and these little kids were like, "Oh wow, mommy, look! There's people dancing in the street." We had masks on. We took precautions. We were trying to be like 6 feet apart at that point, but I mean, it was incredible. We had the singers in the front. They had, they had the clear masks on. Everyone wore vibrant costumes. It was it was beautiful.
It was a magical. That was really a magical
Pretty
moment
special.
where the sun was coming up, and we were literally, and that's the community that we live in.
Yeah.
Where the police shut down the streets for us.
Yes.
Yep.
Paul Vagiano's opened Greek to me up to us, as well as the owners of Bear
It's a
Burger.
staging area.
They said, just
Staging area, yeah.
the place is yours. Come in, get warm, use the bathrooms, do whatever you need to, take over our space.
Yeah.
I mean, people were so incredibly generous that day.
Yeah, they
We also filmed at the band shell. But that opening scene in the movie, when you watch Jamboree, the movie, we are literally dancing in the street. It is one of my fondest memories of making, and how proud I was to be part of something that we transcended COVID at that moment. We made that show go on.
We were on the train station. We were on top of the parking garage before it even opened up. We were filming. I mean, it was just incredible.
And we had our two local guys came back.
Yeah, Spencer Mulstock and Hayes Walsh. They were incredible, and we just came up with ideas, and they're like, okay, let's do it.
We had that number at Graydon, too.
We had a number at Graydon.
Holding out for a
Number
hero.
at Graydon. We had a number at BF. We were on the
band
track.
shell.
And we were really thankful for everyone in the village of Ridgewood for working with us and helping us get permission. So, yeah, I mean, when the Bollywood number was filmed at the Shell, that's like amazing. That was
so beautiful.
It was so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
I mean, we made it pretty.
Well,
Maggie,
Tom's wife, Maggie, went over and cleaned up all the walls for us
and
and
then
made it
she
look
got
pretty.
on a ladder 20 feet
Did she
high
paint them?
and hung
Did she paint the
things
show?
down.
Closer to 40 feet high.
40 feet high.
You're way high.
Okay. Well, I'm never good at numbers.
Yeah.
No, it was,
All the
it
hanging
was
stuff.
incredible.
It was
to
a
be
magical
part of
day.
it. Yeah,
We
it
filmed on the
was.
field, the high school field.
We did.
We did a big number there. We mimicked the high school graduates coming down the walkway.
Yes,
that was
you
very
did.
cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
Don't
was a
Stop
great day.
Believing. That was the song that you guys did too, because we all had to, keep going and keep believing. It was an amazing opportunity. We even had I remember driving, and Holly was our director of choreography at the time, and she was like, "Oh, I really want a fire engine." And we wanted to go at the firehouse, and that was creating issues because, if there's an emergency or whatever. And I'm driving past Graydon, and I'm like, oh, there's a fire engine there. Oh, maybe we could just have a fire engine, and we could just have people on top of the fire engine, around the fire engine. And it was amazing. I mean, Tom, you wore my husband's military
outfit, yep.
It was I Need a Hero, I think was the
the
name of the
hero
song.
thing,
Tom, you dressed up as my husband from his military
Military.
gear that he wore in Iraq. He was
Police, firefighters.
Yes, we had police, firefighters. We had it was
good
amazing.
messaging. Yeah, it was great.
It was really great.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Worked out well.
That
Very
was
honored to be a part of it.
Yeah. And so many other funny, like, long-standing traditions, like, that harken back to the old days, too. When you talk to the people who produced in the 1980s, they say, we always had a kick line.
14 kicks.
14
14
kicks. It was very
minimum.
specific.
Yeah.
The tap number, the men's comedy number.
Which we've still carried through.
Yeah. So,
Even now.
yeah.
Swing number.
The swing, couples number.
Alumni.
Well, let's
which
speak
is-
about the alumni, because that's a newer
2012?
tradition.
Yes.
2012?
I think so. Yes, 2012 is what I think it is. There's just so many people that can't let go. that want to be on the Jamboree stage, and it's amazing. We continue to get 50 or 60 alum every year that come back. They have their own scene, and they continue to raise money for Jamboree, and quite a big percent. You would know what percent, but
They contribute
It's
a lot of
been a
money and a
lot.
lot of spirit.
Fair amount
right?
of money. Fair amount of
Yeah,
spirit.
the alumni
So-
bring in a lot of money, and they're always a great example for, we call them the new people in the show, the newbies. So they're always a great example for the newbies.
Right.
And, I think it's so fun seeing the new people come in every year because they don't know what hits them until
Yep.
after it's over, and they go, what just happened?
It's all new to them, and they're
Yeah.
they're meeting people they would not otherwise meet because it's not on the lacrosse team, the softball team, the baseball team. It's just new people you will meet. And while it's too late for this year to get involved with being in the show, for next year, anybody who's got a high school
Right.
parent should think about being
And
part
certainly
of it.
come see it and support
Absolutely
it.
come see it. It's an amazing show.
And also, it's important to remember that there's an army of people behind the scenes.
Yes.
So you don't have to love being on stage. You might love working on scenery and sets. You might like working on costumes. There's IT. There's a lot of business and financial fundraising that goes on to raise that amount of money. So we need all the help we can get, and we appreciate everybody that comes out to Jamboree, and they're part of a great big family. And, I've always thought that Jamboree people were the best people.
That's
We
a great
are.
line. We are the best people. And I think one of the, kind of the coined phrases is that we always tell the newbies, right, is trust the process.
Yeah.
So a lot of people come to us never having been on stage or only having been on stage in grade school or something, and they have no idea what to expect or what to do or what costumes to get and all these things. And we say, trust the process, trust this process. And we say it with confidence because we are surrounded by people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
We have had some, and maybe Dana, you could speak to this, some amazing professional
Yes, we
directors, choreographers,
Yes, we
musical directors, people who are professional in their business,
have. Yes.
who have guided and led us and make everyone look really good, even people who are super amateur look really good and feel really good, which is so important.
Yes, I mean, we have people that just say yes to us, which is so amazing. The choreographers that we've worked with, I mean, I think Rochelle Rock, she is opening up Betty Boop, I think,
Yeah,
in
on
March.
Broadway. Yeah, she's a Broadway dancer.
And she had before she started working with us, I think she had done something for one of was it the Emmys? I think she had choreographed
She was in the Tonys.
the Tonys.
Yeah, she was
Thank
in the
you.
Tonys. Yeah.
One of the numbers.
But that was just amazing, just to know that she helped choreograph that and she was in it. And I mean, it's amazing what people will do for this show and the time that they give, and we're just so appreciative of it. And I'm one of our choreographers, was it Colleen? She was in that one number in the yellow dress.
The girl in the yellow
The
dress.
girl in the
yeah.
yellow dress.
Contact.
Contact,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. We finish each other's sentences, don't
See,
we?
we do.
So, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean,
And Holly
when
Cucuzzo, who was a
Holly
professional
Cucuzzo,
dancer
yes.
her whole life.
absolutely.
Robert Daly, who danced with Baryshnikov.
Yes.
I mean, the list of our professionals.
And Tina Turner.
Yeah.
She had. You
Yes.
remember she did
Right.
Tina Turner. I mean, when we start Googling the people that we're surrounded by, we're like, oh wow, we're just so honored that they just want to be part of our little.
And
show.
everyone's a volunteer. No one's getting paid, which
Nobody's
is
getting
remarkable
paid.
too. These
Yeah.
these choreographers are
And it's
not
a lot of
getting
time.
paid.
Yes.
It's a
They
lot.
create the numbers.
And they're such perfectionists because they're professionals that they just dig in and they stay through the process to make sure
Yes.
we're doing everything the way that we should be doing it.
Yes.
So it's really,
Unbelievable.
the support is incredible. So I like what you said, Anne, about having a team behind us the whole way. It's a huge team that makes this happen, makes the Jamboree magic,
Jamboree miracle.
the Jamboree miracle. And
Happens every
somehow,
year.
It
Even
doesn't
during
seem
COVID.
like it's going to happen every year, but somehow
Yeah.
it does.
Comes together.
It does. It comes
January
together.
29th it's kind of scary. It's like, oh gosh, maybe not this year, but then by February 6th or so, it's awesome. It's ready to go.
Well,
Yeah, and a lot of people, like you said, Tom, just get to opportunity to meet parents you would not have met otherwise because your
Right.
kids are in certain activities, and those are the parents you're exposed to. So it's truly such a cross section. And I think this year's cast is around 140 people
yes.
just in the cast. And we have a huge backstage crew.
Mhm.
We have a huge crew of volunteers doing a variety of jobs. So all in, it's probably about over 200 people who are
Yes.
making the show happen this year.
Yeah, even in the cast, there's some pretty special people that, while many are amateurs, there are some professionals that actually
yeah.
join the show too that actually give it a air of even better.
And over the years, we've had a sprinkling of professionals come and join who've had
Yeah.
kids in the high school who have come and sing for us, which has been, the audience, of course, loves that, just to bring in that professional element for one or two numbers is really remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've lost a lot of our beautiful Jamboree people, too, which
have.
is a testimony to how many years we've been involved. One of the genesis, really, of the Dancing in the Street came from our dear Jeanne Thomas
Jeanne Thomas, yeah.
Yes.
from the year before at a cast party when the doors opened up.
Yeah, Gail
at
McCarthy
at
said,
Bear Burger.
Yeah, she said, play that song, Dancing in the Street, and everyone started dancing the street.
And Jeanne Thomas led the way, and we were dancing in the street. And the following year, we lost him to COVID. But that was
The number.
strangely the inspiration for the opening of our COVID show.
Right. And all the alumni wore the fedoras, like
which
he always
was,
wears.
which was really a testimony to him and his talent. And that made it even more special too. And you never know where you're going to find inspiration, right?
No, you don't.
Ian McVeigh.
You never know.
And just speaking of inspiration, like the whole entire show is written by members of the show. Like you have your script writing team that writes the show, like from soup to nuts, and it's all written just for this show. And I was a part of the script team. I remember the first time I wrote for it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, it's just, you can pretty much come up with any idea, and there is no greater feeling than when you hear the words that you wrote, like being said by someone dressed to the nines, looking fabulous, in a scene sponsor or just in a fluff piece. But I mean, I don't know. That was the most that I really was surprised by that. Like the first year I did it, I was like, wow, they write these shows too.
Yeah, every year's a new show, right? New
And then
theme,
we
new
have-
show,
Completely
new
original.
script, new songs.
And then music-wise, we have the wonderful Lisa Plass working with us for the past few years. She owns From the Top Studio in Midland Park, and she donates all of her time and the hundreds of hours that she gives, as well as the choreographers. She just puts her heart and soul into everything, and she actually turns people into singers. Like we've had like Ray Ocasio. We had him a few years ago. He had never sang before, and he did Fly Me to the Moon. And now he's been singing ever since.
Yeah.
Wonderful thing.
Amazing. I
Yeah,
didn't know he'd
I
never
mean-
sung before.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He's
Ray, I hope you're listening.
Yes, and his son is he's at Michigan, and
Yep.
he's in the theater program. So, yeah, so she does amazing things with people, and she gets us all singing. And there is no better feeling than being on stage and singing all together and having fun.
Yeah.
And
And a special shout out to this year's directors, former cast members, Rena Christie
Absolutely.
and Michelle McGordy.
Yes,
They're doing a great job. And
They
they're
are
gonna-
doing a
yeah,
great job.
It's gonna be a really fun show.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show, and we have our wonderful producers this year as well.
Yeah.
And do you want to say who the producers are?
Sure. We have David Ciccolello, Deanna DiMolo, Nina Jardee, and Kristen Plumley.
Yes.
Yep. And the producers, basically, as you guys know, as your former producers, you work year round, managing everything and putting all the pieces together. And that's probably the biggest job, I would say, in Jamboree, is being a producer.
Yes,
There's a lot of work.
they're doing a really great job.
Yeah. And making sure all the cast members are on task to do their fundraising bit. So that's a big job too.
Yeah.
So we live in a remarkable village that allows us to do this. And whenever I teach anything or Jamboree or lead anything or choreograph anything, I say, it's really a privilege to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone gets to do what we get to do, and I really believe that and feel that. So hopefully it's infectious. And
It is infectious, I think. And actually, if you have people that are in the show, ask them. I think for the most part, they say they're having a great time.
Yeah.
And after they're done, they say, I have no idea what happened, but that was awesome.
yeah.
And you're challenged. Well, maybe someone who can't dance like me. You're challenged. You get better.
By the way, this
and
guy
then you go.
fundraised to beat the band and tap dance, just saying.
I learned to tap dance in Jamboree. What was his name? Who was the choreographer back
Steve?
then? No, before Steve. Anyway,
gosh.
he was a Broadway choreographer.
Tony?
And,
Tony.
No, before him. But I learned to tap dance in Jamboree.
And you've been tapping.
And he
ever
owns
since.
his
I've
own
been tapping
tap
ever
shoes.
since.
And then he would say, back when you worked in the good old days,
Yeah.
you would tap dance down the hallway or put your shoes on.
Waiting for the elevator. They would all laugh at me. But you got to find your time to rehearse
Yeah, you
whenever
learn
you
a few
can.
skills in Jamboree.
We've had a few doctors that would give us videos on when they were rehearsing.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
just rehearse when they can,
Yeah, very
sing
funny.
when you can, dance when you can.
Squeezing in.
And we have such great technology now, too. We make videos of everything, and
Yes, everything's user friendly.
yeah, it's great.
It's amazing.
It's a very well-oiled machine, Jamboree, I have to say.
Yes.
It's very well-oiled, thanks to the multitude of volunteers.
Yes, we have a wonderful website,
Yeah, new website this year.
rhsjamboree.org. It's
Very sexy, just like the show this year.
It really is. It's very user friendly. It's like an a la carte. You just kind of like press on a
Yeah.
button and you find out
how quick you can get a gift in.
How quickly you can donate.
donate.
You can buy, how to get
Buy
the raffle
tickets.
tickets. Come see the show. Your neighbors are in the show. The people that you may see in the. I've had people stop
Stop and
me
Shop.
in the Stop and Shop and be like, "Were you in Jamboree a few weeks ago?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that was me." It's because sometimes we wear costumes and you don't exactly know if it's us or not, but they're just like, "Oh, I always wanted to do something like that."
There's
and I'm
no
like,
hiding that big personality.
Oh, thank you. No, but it's amazing because people are like, "Oh, I really wish I could have gotten on stage when my kids were in high school." And then we have the parents that do it, the one and dones, we call them. Like they come in the last possible year that they're eligible, and they're like, "Oh, I just want to say I did Jamboree," and then they say, "Why didn't I do this sooner?"
Yeah, so don't wait, people.
Don't wait.
Come see the show. Our shows this year are February
7, 8, and 9.
6, 7, 8.
I think it's 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
6, 7,
6, 7, 8.
Thursday.
Thursday at 7:30.
First week in
Friday
February.
at 7:30. Saturday at 7.
7.
You could buy tickets on our website, rhsjamboree.org, to find out all kinds of things, to donate now, to buy your tickets, to support us in any way that you can. All the money goes directly to the class of 2025, the seniors.
Yep.
It's such a great cause. Education is number one, right? You
Does
got it.
anyone
We got to
remember how much
educate our
the raffle
kids.
was last year?
Excuse me?
How much the raffle
We have a
was
50-50
last year?
raffle.
27.
Yeah, it was
That
close to
that
30.
generates
Yeah.
almost
The winner
30,000.
took home
$27,000.
$27,000.
Winner, chicken dinner. Get that ticket.
Yes.
Right.
And they're forecasting to just be
I'm like
Yeah.
at
in
30.
that area
Yeah.
too. So
There's also a raffle for
trip?
a trip as well. There's a few tickets left for that.
28
Great.
spots as of 2 hours ago.
Great.
All right.
Limited number of tickets at
So
$100
there are
a ticket.
so many ways to support us.
Mm-hmm.
No excuse.
We've had people come to this.
rhsjamboree.org.
It's the best thing to do at the
Yeah.
beginning of February.
It's
Come
amazing.
to the show. And
Yep.
it's the best way to spend January.
Rehearsing and making new
rehearsing.
friends.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
All right. Are we good?
Sure.
Great,
We're
thank
always
you.
good.
Thanks for
Don't
having
make
us.
Don't make us sing the song.
Yeah.
Rosie.
Well, that's the other
Yeah.
the end of the song.
Ridgewood,
Ridgewood,
no
faithful
make
to
it
you.
false.
Say how we love your
applause.
applause.
Just
Before you rise and go, you'll be sure that we will know. Our thanks for seeing the show.
Boom.
Thanks so much to the Jamboree crew and Rosie McCooe for doing that interview. I really appreciate it. It was pretty terrific. And Rosie is going to kick off the Dad's Night interview too. So here's Rosie.
A quick word of thank you to my Jamboree friends who joined me for the first part of the episode. Tom, Dana, and Ann, thank you so much for your many years of volunteering for Jamboree and for raising so many funds over the years. We really appreciate all of your efforts. And now on to part 2 of our episode. We have 2 rock stars from Dad's Night joining us for part 2, talking about Dad's Night 81. What?
Yeah,
We have Ahmed and Steve. Dad's Night 81. Does that mean Dad's Night is older than Jamboree? It predates Jamboree. We're only 78.
that would be right. Yeah, Dad's Night been
Holy
around for
smokes.
this is our
What year?
81st year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can't do the math. What year? Tell me the history.
1944. Gosh.
Yeah, so thanks for having us on. Very exciting. So Dad's Night started in 1944. I believe the story goes that a group of dads came together during the war to lift the spirits of the local community, for their children, for the wives, and from that year on, the dads have put on a show for the Somerville community, and eventually the Hawes community joined, and that tradition continues on today. So it's really an amazing thing with the goal of raising money for the community, for the schools, for those in need, but also to lift the spirits and bring fun and enjoyment to the community and our families.
I mean, yeah, it's a great mission. It really is.
Yeah.
It's terrific. Ahmed, what school do you represent?
I represent Somerville.
Okay.
I have 2 children in Somerville now. I have a 8th grader, and then I have one that will eventually be there. He's a 3-year-old, so I have quite a.
I'm a little
runway.
partial to Somerville.
I know.
My husband
It's
Sean
hard to
did Dad's Night for 18 consecutive years.
18.
So,
That's
yes.
amazing. Woo.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about that. Later. But yeah, I'm partial to Somerville. And Steve, you're Hawes. You represent Hawes.
Represent Hawes. I have 2 boys. My oldest is in BF, but my youngest is 5th grade. So this is actually my last year of Dad's
Okay,
Night.
and you're a chairperson.
I'm
What
a
are we
chair.
calling you?
Yeah,
A
I'm
chair.
chairman. Yeah, I'll take that.
Very important role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all dads. No moms are in the show, right? Just dads.
Well,
There is an element,
just
but we'll
dads,
talk
but of
about that in a
course.
minute.
The moms are a
Provide a lot of support.
major part of what we do at Dad's
Yeah,
Night.
they
for sure.
they help support.
But they're
you.
not on stage. Yeah, that's the
Correct.
word. Right.
All right. And I know humble beginnings during World War II. And then I believe the show started out at Somerville School for
Right.
many, many years. You performed there and then obviously outgrew that space because
Correct.
that auditorium's not quite as big, and then moved over to BF at some point.
That's right. So now we have 2 shows. We have a Friday night show and a matinee, and we sell out BF both shows. It's really amazing. So we could probably even go bigger.
And I,
We could.
yeah, for sure. And I think many years ago it's a much smaller undertaking. Obviously, there were 65 guys or something in it now. And now, what is your cast up to?
I believe so far we're at 250 something of active dads so far for the show, but that number will grow probably close to 300.
Because you start now, right? You start in.
Well,
January.
some people start in over the summer with getting their skits ready, but
Okay.
yeah, essentially last Thursday we had our skit pick night where the
Okay.
guys would pick which skits they're going to be in, and so now starting next Thursday, it's practice until
Okay.
the show.
Yeah. But in reality, it's all year round.
Yeah.
You know, we are always doing different events to bring new folks in, new dads who, maybe moved to town, or maybe they were a little hesitant at first, or maybe they finally have a kindergarten going into the school. So we want to bring them into the fold earlier. And we also want to maintain the relationships with our grad dads, the fathers that no longer have children in the elementary schools, but still are part of who we are, the fabric of Dad's Night, and want to make sure that we maintain those relationships, see them, celebrate them as well. So we always doing something.
Yeah, so it's a continuous thing, right? And
Yeah.
and there is so much awareness now, and you guys are such a fun group. And I often see you out filming or doing crazy things in the neighborhood. And I've watched a few of the recent the videos from the past few years.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And what's the focus this year? What's this year's theme?
So this year we're kind of doing a cowboy theme,
All right.
country western theme.
Okay, and how many skits?
Well, I think we have a record number of skits this year.
Oh boy.
I think in the past there's always been about 10, but this year we're up to 14.
Oh my. So the
So-
show will be 5 hours long instead
No,
of
no,
4.
no, no. We are going to keep
I've been to those shows.
We're going to keep the guys to a limit for their skits, but they're going to be focused and they're going to be awesome.
Okay.
So
And it's singing, it's dancing. What's involved?
everything.
Yeah.
So this year, I think, there's so many different things. There's some things that this year, one of the ones I'm looking forward to is we're going to actually have somebody there, a group of guys working on a skit where there's going to be a representative from the Guinness Book of World Records.
Okay.
And they are going to try to, with the kids, with the audience, they're going to try to break a record. And if all goes to plan, I don't know what the record is. I don't know if you do, nor if I
don't.
did, I wouldn't say, I guess. But
don't.
they are
Wow.
going to, if it's going to be calculated, and if all goes to plan, by the end of the night, everyone in the audience is going to have a certificate saying they are a world record holder.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like it.
Right.
aside from that, tell them about your skit.
Yeah. So so it's all grounded in music, singing, dancing, costumes. But we do try to bring different, the evolution of Dad's Night and what we do on stage is really fascinating. Like, it really started off with guys last minute getting together and just goofing around on stage. And there's still, that's
Still
still
plenty of that.
Fair
part of
amount of that.
Right. But a lot of technological advances, right? We were able to bring a giant screen that covers the entire backdrop of the stage at BF. We have dual projectors that allow us to do a lot of really creative things from an editing, from an animation standpoint. So my skit is bringing that world and then having it transform on stage, right? It's like a spin on the child's book, Harold and the Purple Crayon, where whatever you draw can come to life, and
Neat.
accompanied with a lot of
love it.
music the children like, the wives like, etc. And choreo. And we actually turn to like our allies and some of the local businesses in town. So big shout out to Nikki Manx at Heart in Motion. She dedicates a lot of her own personal time to help us with choreo, making sure that we look decent, right, on stage and not totally out of sync. We do our
great.
best.
I think that's new. I don't think you had choreographers.
Well, I don't think he should have said that because, you know.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's no. We want to promote Nikki and as much as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. Heart
right?
in Motion,
But,
right.
I got dibs on her, so no one else can use her. But no. So we all push each other in the best possible way. We all want to win skit of the year, most memorable skit, funniest skit, but also we'll support every other skit and for the betterment of the show, right? And that drives like the show forward. It attracts more folks. It really becomes a really fun night and a special night for everyone involved. So
Right.
And I wonder if that was elevated when, 'cause I think it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where they started giving awards.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
That's
think with
new.
that,
Yeah.
there's
put
a
a-
skit of the year. You put that out there, people
Well,
are going to start
bunch of
working
men
a little
and,
harder.
yeah.
The
So-
challenge. And I like the idea of the projections, particularly when there's 200 people on stage. You don't have a lot of room for scenery, right? So
Yeah,
you do the
it
projections.
allows you
and-
to
yeah, it's
do
neat.
a lot,
That's
right?
great.
And
That's really transforms the stage in
you
so
don't
many, theater in so
necessarily
many
need
ways.
to have
Yeah.
10 different backdrops that come
Yeah.
down from the rafters.
Yeah.
You could just literally bring in a file and change the scenery, right? Or it can be very dynamic. And we've done a lot of cool skits in the past that incorporate that, right? The scene is changing, or it's like a concert
Yeah, that's
vibe
cool.
with everything that's happening on stage. So it's very fun.
I think one of my favorite things that I watched evolve. Well, obviously you perform to a live band, and we'll talk about the band in a minute because the band is amazing and such a major part of the show. But I remember when they brought in the opening credits, if you will, the opening song, and then they put a picture of the dads up there with their kids, and you would just sit there and sob and cry and reminisce and and on, and it was so heartfelt. That to me was like the best part of Dad's Night. It was so beautiful, and just to see the dads with their children, and there was just something so pure and beautiful about that. And I really look forward to that.
That continues. That
Yeah.
tradition
That's
continues.
a tradition
yeah.
that continues.
Yeah,
The
it's so great.
slideshow with the dads and their kids, and then the Dad's Night song that none of us actually know the lyrics to, but
Yeah.
we fake it like we do. So
Yeah. So let's talk about the band, because I know you've had like professional musicians sit in, and it's really the Dad's Night band is a thing.
It's definitely a thing. I've actually had the pleasure of singing a song with them one time.
Okay.
And
How'd you do?
I cannot sing.
You crushed it.
So listen, I can't sing, but I will act as though I'm the greatest singer in the
Okay,
world.
that's all. It takes.
But certainly they are just amazingly talented. We actually had our kickoff party on Saturday, and there was some debate as to where the party was going to happen. There was some things happened, but the bottom line is, as long as the band is there and they have their instruments, they start playing, and everyone has a great
I think
time.
I heard you guys had a last minute cancellation. Okay, we
we
won't
made it
get
work.
to that. All right.
We made it
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah.
Dad's Night
Yeah.
perfect.
Someone's
on that,
backyard, whatever. Yeah.
It's all
Put the
good.
tent up in someone's yard. I
But
know.
it's-
You guys have your ways.
Yeah, I think there's 22, 23 guys in the band, and every one of them is amazing, and they're very welcoming. They're very patient especially when people are singing with them or.
And there's so many guys. Don't they have to switch out? Like they have to sit
Yeah.
out and switch out and.
Yeah,
do all the
it actually allows them to like really expand their catalog, because you don't need one drummer to learn 40 songs. One drummer can learn 10, and then another drummer can learn, right? So they're so talented. They really are. They're like a legit band, right? And they're very welcoming to bring in anyone with musical talent. I have none. I'm not in the band at all. I just enjoy the band, right? But they're awesome. Yeah.
And the
Kudos.
kids love the band.
Of course,
right?
everyone loves them. The wives, the
energy.
kids. It's
Yeah.
To
their-
perform to a live band, what a gift that is,
Yeah.
right? It really brings up the energy for any show, no matter what you're
Absolutely.
doing.
Yeah.
it's
We
so
know as a skit writer, it's awesome to know that you have that element of live music if you need it, right? And a lot of people do use them, and it enhances everything. They're really awesome. So
And I think I recall too when you guys started bringing in a video component. I think Jeff Mulstock started that. He would do videos off site.
Yep.
So that was a few years ago, and I'm sure that's gotten even better, more technologically advanced, and all that.
Well, yeah, but I also, and I think that was a big thing during COVID.
Yeah.
There was a lot of skits, but
Yeah.
now I think most of there's definitely the element on the video screens, but certainly I think we try to do most things live.
You want the video. You want to do a couple of things. We do a lot of fun videos that promote skits in advance of Dad's Night. So that's a new dynamic where people are posting little clips to the community to hype up their skit, to get them, primed for the show. We are in agreement, though, that now, during the show, the video element, you would want to enhance what's happening on stage, right? We're not here to watch a movie. We're here to watch a performance. But a lot of the video that happens on, that enhances the performance can be filmed or happen. You'll see us around town. Listen, there was a time I was dressed up like Anna from Frozen on roller skates, rollerblading around town with a camera following me. It's weird in the summertime, right? It's for a show that was happening 6 months later, but it is what it is, right?
Guys got to do what a guy's got to do. The show must go on. You gotta do all that weirdness. So exactly. I see my neighbors doing all kinds of funny things. Exactly. Too. It's so fun. I'm like, oh, must be Dad's Night.
100%.
Yeah. And I also remember when you introduced the grad dad. So you would, I think you started that the year my husband was graduating out after 18 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was so sweet because you'd introduce the dads last year.
Correct.
And then bring the kids up. Yeah. And that was another, tug at the heartstrings.
Another awesome tradition. We want to recognize every single grad dad, whether it's your first year and you happen to be a grad dad, or whether, like your husband, was 18 years, and we bring the kids up, allow them to hug their father, do a little dance quickly on stage, and at their final moment. But it's really a sweet, sweet tradition, and we'll continue on. So,
and tell me, are the parties any fun?
Well, it's milk and cookies.
Okay.
We have a great time. Again, once again, you get throw the band in there. We had our kickoff party the other day. It was amazing. We, you had music, dancing, and we always have a cast party after the show.
There's more parties. We keep introducing more parties, and they're great. This year for the first time we did a homecoming party.
Yep.
Nice.
Which we it was called a bandioke, where we took our band and allowed people to, as a fundraiser, you could nominate another dad, a grad dad, a wife or a mother. And whoever got the most bids for their song would get locked in. The band would learn that song, and then on the night of the party, you would perform it live with the band.
Oh,
so it was like karaoke with a live band.
So, Steve and I performed a Taylor Swift song in front of everybody with the band,
and
right?
You killed it.
We killed it. It was amazing. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. But it was
speaking how amazing the band is. They had to learn 25 new songs, and they were absolute pros.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And but again, it's we raise a lot of money from these events, and we bring a lot of new people into the fold, and that was open to everybody, right? And wives and new dads who are just learning about what Dad's Night is, and now they're part of it, and that helps them sell ads and raise more money, and it lifts everything up. So, and they're the next generation of skit writers and innovators, etc. So,
all right. So, speaking of fundraising, what do you guys do with the millions of dollars that you raise every year?
Well, so on the Hawes side,
you go on vacation. Steve goes to his private island.
Let's cut the camera. And we'll talk. The most recent thing that we did at Hawes was we completely renovated the library. Prior to that, we, I think along with the HSA, we bought the playground, a brand new playground. It was like a whole rocket ship type thing. Hawes is big into Space Week.
Yes.
So those are the last two things that we the big projects at Hawes.
Isn't the Hawes planetarium?
I think that, yes.
That was a little bit further back.
That was years ago, but I mean, there's been a lot of things over the years. Yeah,
I believe Somerville is the only elementary school that has an air-conditioned gym.
Yes.
All right, that was from a Dad's Night. The money. So the money that we raise goes back directly to the schools, and then we always have the money. God forbid there's something in the community where we can help and contribute toward that. We have those reserves ready, right? So. And then whenever we can, if there's a project or an enhancement or something that we can bring to our schools, that's what we're here for, and that's what we do. So
we're really hoping to start conversations about building, out into the infrastructure of BF. Just whether it's sound or lighting, because we use that school and really
that is our community theater.
Sure.
Yes,
so all the kids in the district use that. It's the biggest theater, so we're looking to contribute to that as well.
That's a great mission. Yeah. Put the money back into the schools because they, we don't always get it through the government.
Yeah.
So so
Absolutely.
that's a terrific mission, and I know the schools really benefit from it. And obviously, the kids directly benefit from all those additional.
They love
cool
it, yeah.
things.
And it's nice to feel like you're part of that fabric, right? You're bringing something back to the community.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's an awesome thing.
Yeah,
So
it's great. And so your mission is meet new dads, bring new dads into the community, because a lot of times the dads don't really get to meet each other otherwise,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you want to go ahead?
So, well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I've lived in Oakland before here, and I didn't know any
didn't
other
know
dads.
anybody.
My wife knew everybody. But as soon as I moved here, I joined Dad's Night the first year I was here. I remember going on a walk with the family, wife, the dogs, and my wife was shocked at how many guys I knew. I think in that walk, I literally stopped and talked to 9 different dads
Yeah.
Oh, that's
just
great.
along the way, and it was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just gives you exposure and an opportunity to meet people that you would just never cross paths with just because they're in a different school or their kids are in different grades or right. Dr. Oates, the principal at Somerville, always jokes how Somerville is the one school where the dads are always at drop off and pick up because then they get all together and hanging out and talking shop and and it's everyone wants to see each other, everyone wants to hang out. So, but I would probably not know Steven. Like our kids aren't in the same grades, and he's at Hawes and I'm at Somerville, and he's a dear friend of mine now, right? And there's lots and lots of connections
like
you
that.
make,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
wonderful.
beneficial for your social life. It gives you a stress release. It could be good for your professional life. You network with folks, right? It's really a special thing, and
The confidence.
Yeah.
He and I have both at different times have been the new dad coordinators. So we've been in charge of helping the dads come in, get them acclimated to it, and we create a skit for them. And I had a dad a couple years ago told me that when he was a new dad, he hated me. He literally said, "I literally hated you."
You're like,
because
yes, I love that.
The skit we did was the new dads. It was the one I stole from you.
Yeah,
What was it? The Masked Singer.
Still.
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
was so mad that I was making him go up there and sing. However, he said after that, I felt great because now I know I can go up on stage and do anything.
Yeah.
So bring him out of the shell a little bit.
yeah.
I mean, look,
Great. It's a
and
great goal.
It's
Yeah.
And I moved to Ridgewood in 2017, and I didn't start Dad's Night until 2020. And I always was like, I don't know if this is for me. I've never done theater. I've never been on stage. I was a sports guy. And my biggest regret is not starting immediately,
Sooner.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, you missed a couple years.
once you
right?
get into it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're in, you're hooked, right? It's really the best. And I encourage any new dad any dad that's on the fence that's never done it before, just give it a shot. You're going to meet your people. You're going to have a great time. You can do as little or as much as you want, but it's really just an amazing experience. So
And
And as we have I think a record number of skits this year,
that's right.
we also have a record number of new dads. I believe we're just about up to 70.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. So
and
how
you
many
do a
new dads?
particular skit for the new dads.
The new dads have their own skit,
Oh.
and there'll be another
And then
skit
they do
or
another
two,
skit
but
too.
Okay.
they have one that's just for them.
Oh, that's cool.
So
like that.
and it usually starts the show. So this way, everyone can see them up front, and they can get the feeling for it and get the nerves out and be ready to move.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Do you have a favorite memory?
Oh man, my favorite memory. I think it's last year. Him and I wrote the Taylor Swift skit. It was just when my wife loves Dad's Night, but she's also a big critic of Dad's Night because of the amount of time.
Most women are. Most of the moms are.
When she told me that
We could do it better, faster, but just saying.
no, 100%, totally, no doubt about that. When she told me that was actually entertaining and like really fun to watch. Granted, I was dressed as Taylor Swift. He was dressed as a Taylor Swift, so there was not the most appealing. That was awesome to hear. They get that back that we put a lot of time and work in. We raised $100,000 last year.
Amazing.
To hit that milestone was amazing
that's
collectively as a group. I don't know. There's so much.
Well, you're still building them. You're still in.
Oh yeah. I gotta.
This year's is going to be a great year. 2025 is going to be a great year.
Totally.
No doubt.
Better.
And when do you perform? When's your next show?
Our show's on Friday, March 14th, and Saturday, March 15th.
Correct.
Oh, you moved it a little bit
Later. We needed,
Yeah,
it's going to be a bigger show. We needed a little more time this year.
It also we have to align with other
Yes.
the Somerville, the SET, the Children's Theater.
Yes.
We have to align with their schedule. There's a lot of moving pieces there. So
That's actually a lie. The fact of the matter is, first show is on Friday, March 14th, which is Pie Day, and
and he's Stephen
my day.
Pye.
I'm Stephen Pye, so it has to be.
Oh, well, there you have it, folks. Stephen Pie
The
Day.
only reason. Otherwise, it could have been a month earlier.
3/14/25.
There you go.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness.
You heard it here on Ridgewood Talks. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Any other messages you want to get out there?
Listen, grateful for this community, not just the Dad's Night community, the Ridgewood community as a whole. It's a very special thing that we have here at Dad's Night. And as I said, I encourage any dad that's eligible, right? The only requirements are you need to have a child that's currently at Somerville Hawes, and we encourage you to come join. But yeah, and thank you so much for having us on. This is really, really awesome to,
Yeah, thank you to Ignite
meet you all,
Studios. It's
to
great.
learn about this podcast. I
Yeah.
will be promoting this as well. It's
Yeah, cool.
just an awesome way to stay in touch with the community and see the happenings and so on. And yeah, that's it. Excited for the season 81.
Yeah, Dad, say it loud again. What's your
Dad
name?
boys.
Dad boys.
We're
Dad
not
boys.
cowboys. We're not quite there, but we're dad boys.
Correct.
Oh, now I get it. It
Yeah.
took me a minute. Okay.
Yeah. There's different
awesome.
levels of dad boy.
I thought it was
He's more of a-
I thought it was Bad Boys. That's how I
Well,
was.
you know, we are. Yeah, that could be a little bit of that too. But yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Pye's got a little bad boy in him. That's okay.
We actually had a first time ever a Dad's Night retreat this summer to Nashville. How many? Maybe 25 of us, 30 of us.
26. Yeah.
Were you bachelorettes? What'd you do down there?
It was
So-
rated G, maybe rated PG, right?
PG, I think. The boss was PG, but
We did a lot of fun things. We did some we did some boating, we did some cliff diving, and the grand finale is our other chair. His family owns a ranch outside of Nashville, and we did the cowboy games, the dad boy games, where we did some bull riding. Believe it or not,
Wow.
we did a
That's no joke.
yeah,
That's
it was
a great theme. That's
yeah, and Steven actually won the #1 cowboy.
I was the Iron Wrangler.
Iron Wrangler.
Stephen Pye, it is your year, my
It
friend.
is
I
your-
mean,
It is.
come on.
yeah.
Now that all came about because the whole theme came about because I was talking to the other chairman, Dan, and just said, hey, listen, they did 80 last year. Let's do 1881.
Yeah.
And that's how it kind of came about, doing some kind of Western thing. And he's like, we got a ranch down in Tennessee. And
Just happened to have a
let's
ranch.
do it.
So who is your co-chair? You want to give him a shout out?
yeah, his name was Dan Sikora.
All right,
He's
Dan.
awesome. He's actually a member of the band.
Dan the man.
Dan the man.
Dan and Steven are a great combo, right? Dan has done a ton for the organization in a very short time. He's an innovator, as is Steven. Like he's done some amazing things as well. So we have amazing leaders this year. So it's off to a great start, and we're really excited to see
Fantastic.
where
Well,
we
break
go.
legs, guys. I wish you a
Thank
lot
you
of
very
luck this
much.
year. And now, next year, you're eligible for Jamboree. You'll have a
Oh, my
kid in the high
gosh.
school next
Oh, yeah,
year.
yeah,
See
yeah.
that?
I think that's my wife's.
And then you could do
duties.
both. You could do Jamboree and Dad's Night next year.
She'll do Jamboree.
Okay.
I'll focus on Dad's Night,
All
and
right.
I'll live through that.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
when my 3-year-old gets there, maybe
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see.
Okay. I'm holding you to that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a great group. I'm so delighted to hear about the camaraderie that you guys create and carry on this wonderful tradition that's 81 years old. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Going strong, better than ever. Really, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
It really is. So thank you for passing the torch, so to speak. And
It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you
very
for
fun
having
to
us.
do. Yeah, and thank you for having us.
yeah,
Yeah, this is
so
awesome.
March 14th, 15th, 2025,
Yep.
BF Auditorium. Tickets are free, right? Isn't that the
Well,
best
tickets
part?
are free. They're tough to come by because
tough to
there's-
come by. It's a
'cause
sellout crowd.
as the
Yes.
amount of guys grow, they have families, and it's so.
Do you guys stream it? Do you
It's
stream
yeah,
it?
it's also streamed on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Cool.
So you can watch it live on
live
YouTube.
stream or
It is live
recorded?
streamed, and then you can always access it after.
Okay.
So
Cool.
However, when one of the performers, when their students find them on YouTube,
Oh.
as it happened with me, I'm a teacher, so I had
Yeah.
my students find me dressed as Taylor on YouTube. So we had to take it down for a little while last year's show anyway. But
Okay.
so but it should be there now.
I would love a teacher that's like that.
Yeah,
Should
but
embrace it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So those are the show dates. Super excited. It's going to be an awesome show.
And how can people support, if you can't buy tickets, how do people support you?
So there's a lot of different ways you can support Dad's Night. So if you are interested, you can take out an ad. We do sell ads. We have a couple different ways to promote your business, yourself, your family. So Tom Devita and his family are supporters of Dad's Night. They buy an ad in our booklet. And a lot of the local businesses do as well. So if you have a local business or you just want to contribute, you can reach out to Dad's Night, to Steven, to myself, to anybody. And we'd love any kind of contribution is tremendous, right? It goes right back to the community, right back to the schools. So
great.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. Break legs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dad Boys coming in hot. March
Saddle
up.
2025 on
That's
Pi
right.
Day. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thanks.